little one. The little, yeah, that one, yes, and then the arrows. Yeah. Yeah,
So we can start?
Yes, please.
So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. First, we can talk about flow. So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. And after that, we can talk about first, we can talk about flow. So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. And after that, we can talk about first, we can talk about flow. So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. And after that, first we can talk about flow. So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. And after that, first we can talk about flow. So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. And after that, first we can talk about flow. So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. And after that, first we can talk about flow. So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. And after that, first we can talk about flow. So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. And after that, first we can talk about flow. So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. And after that, first we can talk about flow. So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. And after that, first we can talk about flow. So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. And after that, first we can talk about flow. So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. And after that, first we can talk about flow. So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. And after that, first we can talk about flow. So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. And after that, first we can talk about flow. So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. And after that, first we can talk about flow. So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. And after that, first we can talk about flow. So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. And after that, first we can talk about flow. So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. And after that, first we can talk about flow. So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. And after that, first we can talk about flow. So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. And after that, first we can talk about flow. So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. And after that, first we can talk about flow. So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. And after that, first we can talk about flow. So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. And after that, first we can talk about flow. So this is about flow in the supply chain and supply chain strategy. And after that, first we can talk about flow. So this is about flow So we can focus the improvements on the supply chain, or on the global supply chain, or we can focus the improvement on sales strategy. So here, for example, we have the current situation. We have one plan with supply chain strategy, so supply chain improvement, on another plan with sales strategy, so improvement with the sales. So at the beginning, we have $100,000 saving. If we have sales $100,000. We have some cost of material, 60,000, so 60% of the sales. We have production cost, they are 20% of the sales. We have fixed cost, 10%, and the profit is 10,000, so 10% of the sales. So we have this current situation. First plan, we want to change the supply chain strategy. So we have the same sales here at the beginning. We don't change the sales. We change a bit cost of materials. We don't change about production cost since fixed. We don't change about fixed cost. So the profit is improved because of the decrease of cost of materials. So we have a 15% increasing of the global profit. So this is one example. Here we made improvement on cost of materials. So with the supplier and the purchase part of the supply chain. This second plan, we have the strategy. We want to increase the sales, so the number of products we want to sell. So we have the best sales money here, $125,000. So it's better than the current situation. We have more cost of materials because we have more products. So we have a number of products more important. So we need more materials, so we have to increase this value. We have to increase production costs because we have more products. We have the same fixed costs, and so the profit is $15,000, but in percentage, it's 15,000 from 125,000, so we have only a 12% improvement. So this is not so good. It's better to use this supply chain strategy in this example. This is improvement here is better than with the sales strategy. So if here it's only to show the different way to improve the supply chain in the global supply chain profit. So here it's better and improvement at the end. So if we study the different supply chain strategies, we have two main strategies in supply chain management: the low-cost strategy or the response strategy. So the low-cost strategy is called efficiency, and the response strategy is called responsiveness. So here we want to have the cost as a goal. We want to reduce cost everywhere in the supply chain. So it's for high volume products. So for products with a low price, with no very changing in the demand, so we have always the same products, always the same production device, same machines, so we have something stable, so we can manage to decrease the cost everywhere. So if we detail in different parts in the supply chain, primary supplier selection criteria, we choose the supplier with the lower cost. The supply chain inventory, we have the goal to minimize inventory to hold down costs. The distribution network, we choose inexpensive transportation. We sell through discount distributor retailers. So every part in the supply chain, we want to have a low cost. The product design characteristics maximize performance, minimize cost. So this is the low cost strategy. And here is the response strategy. So the primary supplier selection criteria is the capacity of the supplier, the speed for when we want to purchase some product with the supplier, the flexibility of the supplier. So the supplier can have a response, good response to the company. The supply chain inventory, we use buffer stocks to ensure speed supply. So this is for service customers. The more important thing is the customer service. So the distribution network, we choose a fast transportation to have a good customer service with each order. Provide premium customer service. So the product design characteristics here are low setup time, rapid production ramp up. So here we want to have strategy to the customer service, the best customer service. This is the two different strategies we can have in the supply chain. This is another way to show it. So here we can find the responsive supply chain strategy. Here we can find the efficient, so the low-cost strategy. This is the demand, also by weekly demand variability. If we have some high variability in the demand, we need to have a responsive strategy of the supply chain. We are here, but we have a volume, so annual volume is low. We can manage to follow the demand. So the variability, we can follow the variability, but we cannot have the volume very important. And the other strategy is the efficient supply chain. Here we can have a volume important, many products in the same in this strategy, but it's difficult to follow the demand variability. So we have only this with high volume and low variability. So there are the two different main strategies in supply chain management: efficiency or responsiveness. One important thing in to manage the supply chain is to have some drivers. So here we have the supply chain structure at in this place. It depends on the supply chain strategy we choose before, and it depends on the competitive strategy. So the competitive strategy is the global strategy of the company, the high level of choice in the strategy. First, we choose the strategy, a long-term strategy. After, we choose the supply chain strategy with the main strategy, responsiveness or efficiency. And after that, we have the supply chain structure. And here is how to manage the supply chain. So this is the supply chain management. And we have 6 drivers. 3 logistical drivers, facilities, inventory, transportation, and 3 cross-functional drivers, information, sourcing, pricing. So we try to manage, to have the best management with these drivers to follow the strategy, efficiency or responsiveness. So we manage the facilities, for example, for efficiency, so with low-cost facilities, low-cost strategy. So the investment will have a low-cost strategy. Inventory here with the different responsiveness or efficient strategy. So we manage in different ways the inventory. We manage in different ways the transportation. We choose for information the right way between efficiency and responsiveness. The same for sourcing. We choose different providers. On the pricing, of course, it's different with low cost or responsiveness strategy. So we have all these drivers to manage the supply chain. Depends on the strategy we choose at the beginning. And another important thing, I can pass this, only definition for the different drivers. But one important thing in the strategy is the bullwhip effect. So I put the Apex dictionary definition, but all is not very important, but the most important is an extreme change in the supply position upstream in the supply chain generated by a small change in demand downstream in the supply chain. So we have the notion of upstream or downstream in the supply chain. I have a graph after, maybe it's better to explain it. So we have here a little change in the consumer demand, and here a big change in the supplier demand. So this is the bullwhip effect. We have the order quantity. So the quantity has a small variability here with the customer. But when the retailer want to order to the supplier or to the manufacturer, the variation is more important, and when the manufacturer orders to the supplier, the variation is more important, and when the supplier orders to another supplier, it's more important. So we have the bullwhip effect here in the supply chain. So this is one way to manage the flows in the supply chain. If we have this, we have it costs a lot of money because we have very important variations. So the tendency for larger order fluctuation as orders are relayed through the supply chain. It creates unstable production schedules because the production has to manage with the variation very important. It costs expensive capacity change costs. We have longer lead time because we have to manage very big quantities. We can have obsolescence in inventories because we have some products a long time in inventory because of the big quantities. The damage can be minimized with supplier coordination and planning. So the most important thing to manage the bullwhip effect is to have good coordination, to share information in all the stages of the supply chain, and to have a good communication, good coordination with the different stages. So the cause of bullwhip effects can be the demand forecast errors, cumulative uncertainty in the supply chain. So we have errors in the forecast with the customer. So we can avoid it by sharing down information for the supply chain. If we share the information, the demand information, every stages in the supply chain, they know how is the demand variability, so they can manage the manufacturing, the suppliers, all stages can manage with the demand information the right variability, so you can avoid the bullwhip effect. The cause could be the order batching too large or infrequent, or order letting supplier to order even larger amounts. So if we have a bad order batching in one or different steps in the supply chain, it causes bulk effect, so we can avoid it by coordination, determine lot size out through the full supply chain as one company. So this is more a bit like this. This is not about information, but this is about coordination in different steps in the supply chain. We can have some price fluctuation, buying in advance of demand to take advantage of the price discount stays. So if we want to buy in advance some products, we have important inventories. So we can avoid it with price stabilization and the low price in the supply chain. So it needs communication and coordination in the different parts of the supply chain. We can have a cause of shortage gaining, holding supplies for fear of supply shortage. So we have a lot of inventory because we want to avoid shortage. So a solution is to allocate order based on past demand. So this is on about the share of information. So every remainder here is our share information or coordination between the different parts of the supply chain. So this is the way to avoid bulk effect. Only one important thing here is how to measure the bulk effect. So one example, to have a good measure if it's bulk effect or not, we can measure it with a calculation. So here is the variance of orders divided by variance of demand. So this is how to show, how to know if the bulk effect is important or no. And if it's equal to 1, there is no amplification in the example. If it's superior to 1, we have variance amplification in the bulk. And if it's inferior to 1, it's smoothing or dampering occurring. So I have some example after. For example, here we have a manufacturer transform sheet metal into tabletop. So we need to buy some metal. So each firm in the supply chain has one supplier and one customer. So this company is here at the end. So we are up to the supplier here need to so this is the demand, variance of demand. We have change in the demand. Here we have change in the order. So for example, here we have 100 variance of demand, 120 variance of order. So we have the relation 120 divided by 100 is 1.1. So we have increasing bulk effect. It's the same here. It's the same here, it's the same here, it's the same here, and we can see at each step it's more and more and more important. Here is the customer, the variation is not very important. Here it's more important, more important, more important, more important. So at the end with the manufacturer, it's very important variation, so it's difficult to manage for production, for purchasing, because the variation here is very important. So 2.6. Here is very important bulk measure effect, so we have to manage to change this order here to have something better for all the different parts of the supply chain. Another important thing in supply chain strategy is sourcing issues. We have strategies to make or buy decisions. We can make in the company the product we want to make, or we can buy the product. So this is a strategy for physical flow. So choosing between obtaining products and service externally as opposed to producing them internally. We can have the choice of outsourcing, so we transfer traditional internal activities and resources to outside vendors. So we can focus on core competencies in the company. So there are different strategies in the supply chain. On sourcing strategy, we can have two different strategies with many suppliers or few suppliers. So the result is different. If we have many suppliers, we use it commonly for commodity products. So purchasing is typically based on price. This is for low-cost strategy. Suppliers compete with one another. So we have many suppliers, and we choose the low-cost in the different supplier. Supplier is responsible for technology expertise, forecasting, cost, quality, and delivery. So the supplier is a separate part of the other parts in the supply chain. So this is a good way for low cost, but it's not the best way to have the very good supply chain management. And the other strategy with sourcing is few suppliers. So buyers forms longer-term relationship with fewer suppliers. So this is a long-term investment with the supplier and the manufacturer. It creates value through economies of scale, so learning curves improvements. Suppliers are more willing to participate in just-in-time programs and contribute design and technological expertise. Cost of changing supplier is huge, so it's important to have a long-term strategy because changing supplier in this case is important. Trade secret and other alliance may be a risk, and this is the disadvantage to have few suppliers in the strategy. And for the end, I put some information about supply chain performance. As on the project, if you want to improve something, we have to measure at the beginning and at the end. So it's important to have a notion of performance in the supply chain. So I put some measuring here. So first, an example with assets committed to inventory. So the average of inventory in the supply chain is important. It's the first way to improve the supply chain and the global supply chain management. So the percentage invested in inventory is the average inventory investment divided by total assets. So this is a part of inventory in the total assets, total investments. For example, here a company had $11.4 billion inventory, and total asset is $44.4 billion. So the percentage is 25.7%. So we have a quite important investment in inventory. It's a lot of money in inventory. If we can have less inventory, we can save money to make other investments. So it's a very important part in one company. So some example of inventory as percentage in different industry. In manufacturer industry, we can find about 15% of inventory. One example is Toyota with 5% of inventory. Toyota is in the work with lean management, lean manufacturing. So this is the goal in Toyota is to have very low level of inventory. So we can find it with this 5%. So they save a lot of money, a lot of investment to make other things in the company. So this is the goal of this kind of factories. In wholesale example, we have about 34% of inventory in the total assets. An example with Coca-Cola, very important, is 2.9%, so it's very small part of inventory in the global assets. In restaurants, we have about 2.9% of inventory. Example of McDonald's with a very small part of inventory, near 0%. And retail industry with 27% of part of inventory in the global assets. For one example is 25, or same as average. Another measuring supply chain performance is inventory turnover. So this is the cost of goods sold divided by average inventory investment. The inventory investment is or the average of several periods, or the beginning plus ending divided by 2, or the ending inventory. So for example, here, an example in a PepsiCo company, the net revenue here is $32.5, $14.2 the cost of goods sold. So the inventory, we have raw material, $0.74, work in process inventory, $0.11, finished goods inventory, $0.84. So the total inventory investment is $1.69. So the inventory turnover is 8.4. So we have 8.4 inventory to work with the process. Another example with annual inventory turnover. So in the food beverage retail, here we have 15 inventory turnover. In Coca-Cola we have 14, in Home Depot we have 5, in McDonald's we have 122. In manufacturing, in Dell Computer we have 90 inventory turnover, Johnson Control 22, Toyota 13, and Nissan 150. You can see it's very different from another company to another. It depends on the strategy and the supply chain strategy we have at the beginning. Another way to measure the supply chain performance is weeks of supply. We can calculate how many weeks we have of supply in the system. So average inventory investment divided by annual cost of goods sold during all the year, all the weeks in the year. So for example, here inventory investment is $1.69 billion. Average weekly cost of goods sold $14.2 billion. So divided by 52 weeks, it's $0.273 billion. So the weeks of supply is about 6 weeks of supply. So this is the amount of inventory we have in unit weeks of supply. Okay, and that's all for the information. Oops. I had some problem after if you want, but we can stop here.